It's not true. It's a conspiracy. Not quite the same as the flat earth or the aliens or the 9/11. Not quite the same. But in some ways it is. Hello and welcome, it's Richard McCann here. I hope you're doing well and thank you for tuning in, however you found yourself here. I want to share a few words with you, I want to share a few thoughts with you, in fact. I was looking at this book this morning. This is a book that was bought for me by my wife at Christmas, Helen. Conspiracies, the Facts, the Theories, the Evidence by Andrew Thomas, author of The Truth Agenda. Now, I have to say, as I've matured throughout my life, I've come to question some things in life. Not all the things in this book, but you know, the question of whether or not we landed on the moon. Some people say it took place in a Hollywood studio. Whether or not 9/11 was an inside job, or whether or not UFOs exist. What Andy Thomas says in his book is for every monumental event, life-changing event that's taken place on this planet, there is somebody out there, maybe a group of people, that come up with a theory that would question what is that's taken place. Question whether or not we landed on the moon. Question whether or not aliens have invaded or they're already here. Or question whether 9/11 was an inside job. Or of late, question whether or not this planet is spherical or flat. Now, I am open-minded. I'm not going to give you any indication as to whether I think any of those are true or not. But what I want to talk to you about, what I do want to talk to you about, is another conspiracy that doesn't get talked about often enough. But before we go, so what is a conspiracy? A conspiracy theory, or conspiracy theorist, is an individual that look at the events, the facts, and will come up with a theory, a scenario that would challenge the facts. I get that. And I think it's good to challenge things that we get told. But I think the one that I think we don't challenge often enough, and I can relate to this one as well, is that belief that the facts about what it is we can achieve are this, that, or the other. I remember as a child not believing that I would go on to achieve anything in life. My first job was ironing trousers in a factory. My second job was washing plates in a hotel. I've worked in shoe shops. I've delivered milk. I've worked in butcher shops. I've worked on taxi rank, on the radio and taxi ranks. So I've done a lot of low-level jobs. And whilst I was working in those jobs, if you'd have told me that I'd be the managing director of the ICANN Academy in the 21st century, I would have laughed in your face. You may as well have told me that the earth was flat. Is it flat? I'm not sure. It is worth exploring, actually. No, it's that self-belief that we can't achieve, that we're not as good as other people. I work with managing directors, I work with chief executives, and I tell you what, I've lost count of the amount of senior leaders that I've sat down with, and when we talk about themselves and their position and how they see themselves, they believe that they are fraudulent, they're an imposter in that position. Now that's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. They're conspiring in here, they're challenging the facts. The fact is that they are good enough. They should be in that position. They can achieve these things. And they themselves have a theory, a conspiracy theory, that they're not good enough. It's not true. Now, it might not be them personally that's conspiring, intentionally to believe these things. Often it's the journey we've been on. And I've been on a journey. And so we've all been on a journey. But my journey through life, losing my mum to a serial killer, at-risk register, brought up in poverty, alcohol in the house, violence, all that stuff, that shaped my belief about myself. I'm not saying that these people got together and conspired, let's make Richard think that he's not good enough, that other people are better than him. No, they didn't do it intentionally. But my perception of all these things going on around me meant that I wrongly believed I'd never achieve to anything. So that was Richard, young Richard. What he believed was not factual. These managing directors, these chief executives that have sat down in this office, around this boardroom table, have told me that they feel that they're a fraud. It's not true. It's a conspiracy. Not quite the same as the flat earth or the aliens or the 9/11. Not quite the same. But in some ways it is. In some ways it is. The facts, the theories, the evidence. The facts, here's the real facts. The fact is that every single person that I come into contact with, every single person on this planet, flat earth or not, is a walking miracle. The chances of each of us being born is absolutely astronomical. The theories that we're not good enough, that comes from our surroundings, our environment, those that didn't believe in us, that lack of opportunity. The evidence, if we question the evidence, if I was to question the evidence when I was a child that I wasn't good enough, if I had the right people around me to support me in my thinking, the evidence would have told them that I am good enough and you're good enough too. And these chief executives, these leaders, these individuals that I sit down with are good enough, are worthy. So, the conspiracy theory that I want you to think about, to consider, forget the other ones I mentioned, although have fun exploring them, is the theory about you, your journey, what you're worth and what you're capable of. Henry Ford didn't say it to me, but I did hear that Henry Ford once famously said, there isn't a person on the planet, they haven't found one yet, that isn't capable of doing more than they think they can. On those few words, I'll wish you well on your journey. I'm Richard McCann. Goodbye for now.